Hi. Just to sort of jump off that, if my dates are correct, I was actually born on the same day that Valley of the Unicorns was aired.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's really nice to have a Dungeons and Dragons part of my life, even from the very beginning. Sort of to expand upon what TJ started and what the rest of you were going towards with regards to how subtly the show itself was far more mature than a lot of people actually realized. One of the things that I really liked about the show was that for the kids in trying to get home, it was less about like actively engaging in fights all so much, and more so much about like just trying to survive and just keep moving, and exemplified by the defensive-based weapons and magical items that they have, such as Sheila's cloak and Eric's shield being more defensive and pushing folks apart. This is probably more for David and Frank, but the other ones can also join in about it. Did you feel when you first started watching the show that this sort of idea of it's less about winning and it's more about surviving, was that something that kind of resonated with you as you watched the show that set it apart from everything else?
That's fantastic. That's a fantastic way of looking at it. And yeah, I think that as you watch the show, the character interactions kind of solidify, because they're very different characters in the beginning. As we go along, they kind of know each other more, and there wasn't a lot of shows that did that, you know, like He-Man and Skeletor are always going to have that relationship, Man-at-Arms and He-Man are always going to have that relationship, but these grew over the episodes, and I think that was because of the peril they were in. And just to kind of go off on a tangent, you had mentioned the found family aspect of the kids that are thrust into this world, which is an amazing like setup. It's kind of a reflection of the game itself. Like I've got a found family that I've known for 30 years playing this thing, and it's a direct kind of correlation to these very different kids. Like, you know, they make fun of Eric, but they love Eric, you know. So there's a way that those relationships are solidified, and perhaps the peril is part of what did that. So.
Yeah, and for me, every time I start looking at a story, especially sort of a long-form story like a TV show or a comic book that's ongoing, I just look for that emotional core to it. Like, what's going to make readers really care about what's happening? And there's just something so genuine, and so there's almost like a protectiveness that you feel when these kids are like 12, 13, Bobby was 9, 14 years old, and they're just trying to get home, and there is episode after episode obstacles in that way, and you're just cheering. It's like watching The Mandalorian, and if he was just out doing jobs, that's one thing, but he has Grogu with him, and I watched it, if anything happened to Grogu, I would have flipped the table. So it's that emotional core, and I think kudos to Mark, because I think that's where the show, that's the seed of the success that it grew into, was that emotional premise. Let's get these kids home.